Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
And welcome to our literature unit for the month of May. And today we're going to introduce a novel to you for young readers, which would be easy for younger people to read and comprehend. Although, if you are an adult, you can certainly give this book a read as well. And this book is entitled The Seventh Wish. Usually we're granted 3 wishes by a genie or something like this, but in this particular case, I think Charlie, the main character in this book, was granted a 7th wish. I guess she had 6 before.
Yeah, she comes upon this really crazy fish who allows her to make some wishes, but those wishes aren't always fulfilled the way that our Charlie, our protagonist in this book, wants them to be fulfilled. So we'll take a look at that. We're going to talk about her life and her sister and some problems that her sister encounters and how this affects Charlie and the rest of the family. But right now, guys, we're going to read through day 1 and we're going to talk about the plot.
12-year-old Charlie Brennan lives near a lake that freezes every winter. It's where she and her older sister Abby used to hunt for magical frost flowers. Now, with Abby at college, their once tight bond has diminished. Charlie finds comfort in her friends and her devotion to Irish step dancing. Eager to shine in the forthcoming competition, she dreams of wearing an elaborate dress. To finance it, Charlie starts ice fishing with her friend Drew and his grandmother and sells their catch. Despite her fear of ice, Charlie ventures onto the frozen lake. On her first day, Charlie catches a small talking fish with black and green stripes, orange-red fins, and emerald eyes. The fish proposes to grant wishes in exchange for its freedom. Charlie is skeptical, but still desires her crush to notice her and wants to conquer her fear of the ice. Surprisingly, her fear vanishes entirely. However, not every wish manifests as Charlie anticipates. The boy who falls for her isn't her crush, Roberto Sullivan, but a similarly named boy, Robert O'Sullivan. Even so, Charlie is fascinated by the fish's magic. She continues making more wishes for her family and friends, although the outcomes frequently diverge from her intentions. Her friend Dasha, an immigrant from Ukraine, does well on her English test, but quickly feels overwhelmed in class. Additionally, Charlie's mom secures a better job, but can no longer drive Charlie to the dance contest. The most distressing outcome occurs when Charlie wishes for Abby to come home for the weekend to drive her to the event. Shockingly, she learns that Abby is gravely ill and must be brought home from college. Okay, let's talk about the first part of our lesson for today, day 1. We're talking about 12-year-old Charlie Brennan, and she lives near a lake that freezes every winter. This does happen if you're far enough north in the world, in Europe, in Canada, the USA, or whatever. Yes, during the winter, the lakes will freeze. I remember that the lake near my home would freeze during the winter. And if you were lucky, it wouldn't snow, so the lake would just be solid ice, and you could go out there and go ice skating on that ice. But usually there was snow on top of the ice. That's probably quite difficult to go skating in that particular situation. But here, it's a lake that freezes every winter, and it's where she and her older sister Abby used to hunt for magical frost flowers. Frost, of course, is when snow or precipitation freezes. You might have frost on flowers, for example, or frost on plants in the winter when it's cold and you have this ice forming on different surfaces. And I'm not sure if these flowers actually exist because it says they are magical flowers that I guess are made from frost or have frost on them.
I grew up in the desert, so I can't even imagine what these might be. So, yeah, just use your imagination. People here in Taiwan don't see a lot of frost. Occasionally, it gets cold enough. If you go high enough in the altitudes, up in the mountains, you might see some frost. You might even see some snow. You'll get frost before you get snow, though. So they've got these magical frost flowers. That's what they're hunting for, they're looking for. Now, we've got Abby, her older sister, who's at college. And their once tight relationship or bond, they're very close sisters, has diminished. That's what happens when siblings move away. You stop sharing every day about things that are going on in your lives. I just went home and I'm amazed at how much things have changed since I've been away, even in a year. So their once tight bond has diminished. Charlie finds comfort in her friends and her devotion to something called Irish step dancing. Have you seen this, Tom, Irish step dancing?
I've seen Irish dancing, but I'm not quite sure what step dancing is.
It's the same thing. So they kind of hold their arms to their sides. You can't use your arms at all. And you're usually wearing tap dance shoes. So they tap as they do the step dancing. But it's fascinating to watch. There are some really good step dancers on Instagram that I follow who are from Ireland, two brothers in particular that I like to watch. But she is devoted to Irish step dancing. She probably wants to become a professional step dancer as she's a young girl, trying to decide what she wants to be in the future.
Yep, she does it herself, and she's part of a club, and she has lots of friends who do it too, so she's really into it. And here in the next paragraph it says, eager to shine in the forthcoming competition, she dreams of wearing an elaborate dress. So if you're a dancer, of course, you want to look good. And of course, if you're a female dancer, if you're a girl dancer, you want to look really pretty, and you're probably going to wear some kind of dress. In this particular case, it will be an elaborate dress with lots of designs, maybe some embroidery or something on it with lots of colors and things like that. And she wants to wear this in the forthcoming competition. So if something's forthcoming, it's going to happen in the future. It's a competition that is coming up. It is going to happen very soon.
Oh, and what happens when you have a competition? Oh, you do your best to practice and work as hard as you can because she wants to shine in this competition. If you want to shine in something, it just means you want to stand out. You want others to notice you and to say, wow, that person's so gifted or talented. She dreams of wearing an elaborate dress. An elaborate dress might be something really fancy. Usually, if you're on stage, you want to wear something that sparkles and shines and makes you look really glamorous. That's probably what she's looking to buy. But these elaborate dresses cost more than your normal everyday dresses that we wear. So to finance her dress, Charlie starts ice fishing with her friend Drew. This is a way to make some money. So if you finance something, you find a way to get the funds that you need for whatever thing you want to buy. Maybe you're trying to finance a new business. So you need to get that support, monetary support, to start something, to finance it. Some people go to banks and borrow money, take out a loan to finance something they want to do. Maybe you have friends who are really wealthy who want to invest in something that you're doing. Or, best yet, maybe you have a grandpa or grandma who just gives you some money and helps you finance what you're looking to buy. So she starts ice fishing with her friend Drew. I've never gone ice fishing. What about you, Tom?
No, I've known people who have done it before. You go out on the ice and you cut a hole and you drop your line and you catch fish and you keep them and you have a house out there. And some people even drive their cars out on the ice in the middle of winter. But in this particular case, she goes ice fishing with Drew, who is her friend. I think Drew might be short for Andrew. Like I have a nephew whose name is Andrew, and sometimes I call him Drew for short.
Yeah.
And they go out there together with his grandmother. They catch fish, and then they go to the market and sell it. The fish that they catch are their catch. Here, catch is a noun. It just refers to what you catch, usually fish in this particular case. And despite her fear of ice, even though she is afraid of ice, Charlie ventures onto the frozen lake. So all of us have some sort of fears. I'm afraid of heights, actually, myself. I don't like to go too high. Inside a building, I'm okay, but if it's outside, I get kind of unsteady out there. Well, here she is afraid of ice, but she still ventures onto the frozen lake. So here to venture just means to go in a certain direction, and it's usually something that is risky or daring, and you do it anyway. So, yeah, she's going to venture out onto the ice because it's not something she's too comfortable with, but she does it anyway.
Yeah, sometimes if you venture out somewhere or venture onto something, you're doing something that might be dangerous or unpleasant. This is definitely dangerous because sometimes the frozen lake isn't as solid as you think. I've seen some awful stories about people falling through ice. They thought they were on a frozen lake and they fell through. And you can really quickly lose the ability to move. You need someone to rescue you because you get so cold.
This has never happened to me, but I think we learned that if you throw a rock out onto the ice and you listen to the sound that it makes when it hits the ice, you can kind of tell how thick the ice is.
Oh, interesting.
If it makes a certain sound or if it cracks the ice, you better not go out there. And usually, of course, in the middle of in winter, like in January or February, you're pretty good to go.
If you live in the right state. Okay, so on her first day, Charlie catches a small talking fish. Remember, this is a novel, so it's fiction. This small fish can talk, and it's got black and green stripes, orange-red fins, and emerald eyes. So it sounds pretty colorful. If you are talking about stripes, you're talking about a band of something. It can be a long, narrow band or strip of fabric or material. One of my favorite shirts has stripes on it, meaning there are different bands of color that go across horizontally. You can have stripes that go up and down, which is vertical, or from side to side, which is horizontal. So this fish has green and black stripes, orange-red fins. We're describing the color when we put those two colors together, orange-red. And a fin is that small flat part that kind of extends from a fish's body, and it helps them move around in the water. Emerald is a precious stone that you can buy and have put into jewelry, but we also use it to describe this bright green color. We'll talk about emerald green. Oh, my dress is emerald green. So the fish has emerald eyes.
Yeah, sometimes you can meet a redhead with green eyes. That is really fantastic. But here the fish has these bright green eyes or emerald eyes. And the fish proposes to grant wishes in exchange for its freedom. So this is a magical fish that can grant wishes. If you ask the fish to give you something, please give me $5 million or something like that, then the fish might grant your wish. Usually the genie in Aladdin is a creature that can offer wishes or can grant wishes. You get 3 wishes. In this particular case, the fish will grant them something if they let it free. So, yeah, I'll give you something. I'll do something magical for you if you let me free because I'm kind of stuck in this lake and the ice. I want to go someplace else.
Yeah, so the fish wants to be let go. They want their freedom. So they will exchange these wishes for their own freedom. Charlie is skeptical, but still desires her crush to notice her. Now, if you're skeptical about something, you don't quite believe what's going on. Maybe you're not convinced yet. You have some doubts about something. Maybe somebody swears something is true, but you're like, yeah, I don't think so. You could be described as being skeptical about something. Now, she says here, or it says here in our story, she desires her crush to notice her. If you have a crush on someone, it means you really like somebody romantically. They probably haven't noticed you yet. Maybe you have a secret crush. She wants her crush, some cute guy, to notice her and wants to conquer her fear of the ice. So this is what she's thinking as she listens to this talking fish say, hey, I can grant you your wishes.
She's still kind of skeptical. She's not really convinced that this fish can grant wishes, but still she has a crush on a boy. That's her crush, the person that you like, the person that you're sweet on, the person that you have a crush on. And yes, she wants him to notice her, and then also she wants to conquer or overcome her fear of the ice. She no longer wants to be afraid of ice, and surprisingly, her fear vanishes entirely. So she no longer has that fear. So I guess the fish has granted her wish. We don't really know if her crush has a crush on her at this point yet.
Oh, yeah, that's another story. If you conquer something, you overcome it, you take control of it. Maybe you have an addiction to chocolate and you want to conquer that addiction. You want to take control of that addiction that you have and make sure that you are successful in the future. We also use conquer to talk about a military invading another country and taking control of the country. They're conquering that particular country. Well, she really wants to overcome and get control of her fear of the ice, and surprisingly, it happens. So maybe that fish is magical.
Okay, that brings us to the halfway point in our lesson for today. Here comes our Chinese teacher.
听众朋友大家好，我是安娜。我们今天开始连续3天要带大家看一本小说哦，第7个愿望。那这第7个愿望听起来就很吸引人好像许愿就会成真可能有一个什么魔法神啦、小精灵啦会来帮我们的确有出现这样子的情节。不过其实它的核心是有关于各种不同的成长的议题甚至有谈到毒品。那我们在看故事的时候，我们就要特别注意故事从小老师就告诉我们有5个 W 1个 H， 有没有？什么人事时地物过程怎么样，这些都要交代清楚。那像我们在这个上了高中之后我们特别要注意，其实故事它的安排都会有一个 conflict。 那这个冲突的意思不是说谁跟谁吵架而是说主角都会有一个 difficulty challenge， 它有一个困难需要去克服。那情节上就是因为我想要怎么样我达不到，这就是一种 conflict， 有没有？但是就是因为这样剧情才会展开，才会有张力，那读者才会觉得好看。所以我们赶快看一下主角是谁呢？主角是一个12岁的 Charlie Brennan。 这个 Charlie Brennan 呢，他是主角。那他怎样呢？Who 出现了。接下来在第一段的第一句看到他住在一个每年冬天都会结冰的湖边好 Where 出现了，很冷的地方，冬天都结冰。那特别要交代这个是因为等一下会出现一个 talking fish， 会说话的鱼，所以又特别讲说这个湖很有特别的这个状况那在第2句又出现另外一个主角，是他的姐姐 Abby。 那 Abby 如何呢？ Abby 跟他以前都会在这个湖的旁边寻找一些神奇的霜花嘛，因为会结冰。好，那在第一段的第2句，我们就特别把 Abby 后面的 used to 抓出来。这边的 used to do something， 特别先把 to 后面加上一个 VR 动词原形。 to 也是我们在学英文当中很困扰的东西。那 to 加上 VR， 我们就是动词原形嘛。 to 加动词原形，我们基本上就会说它是一个不定词，不定词加动词原形。因为 to 如果是介系词的话，后面就加名词或 ing。 如果 to 加介系词名词 ing， 通常会有表示一个方向的意思。那在这里的 used to do something 就是做一件事情的概念。可是 used to do something 是什么呢？在英文当中，这个片语它指的是以前会怎样，但是现在不。所以这个片语本身就有告诉你动作在过去会做，但是现在已经不做这个概念好，所以 Charlie 跟 Abby 他的姐姐 used to， 他们以前就会在这个湖边寻找一些神奇的花霜。那跟我们平常用被动 be used to do something， 如果加上 be 动词，真的就是单纯被用来做什么的意思。好，那现在是一个什么样的情况呢？时间已经来到 Abby 上大学啦，所以他们以前的这个 bond B-O-N-D 在第一段第3句这个字抓出来。如果我们用 relationship， 它可能还有代表什么男女之间的感情的意思可是如果是家人之间，那妈妈跟小孩之间的亲密关系就会用 B-O-N-D bond 这个紧密关系就渐渐疏远。然后现在 Charlie 呢就很喜欢跳那个 step dancing 爱尔兰的踢踏舞。然后接下来第2段我们就看到咯 Charlie 他的困难就出现了。那因为他又要参加比赛嘛，他就很想要穿上很漂亮的裙子，但是又没有钱，所以呢他就想说一起要筹措经费这样子。 那第二段的第一句呢，看到 eager to do something， 特别注意一下，它是一个分词构句哦。那分词构句在这边省略的连接词就是有意义的，叫做 because she is。我们也是根据整个文章的文意啊，就是这个句子的文意来推断的。because 删掉 ，be 动词 be-ing 删掉 ，she 就是逗点之后的 she 就是 Charlie 也删掉。那因为他 be eager to do something， 很想要大放异彩，所以就要去筹措经费。那虽然说呢，他对冰有恐惧，但是还是必须要去钓鱼啊，然后再卖掉才有钱。那所以呢，他就跟他的朋友，还有跟他的祖母啊，一起去找去钓鱼。但是呢，后来啊，他就发现了抓到一个会说话的小鱼耶。第二段第4句当中，这个 small talking fish 就展开了整个后面的故事。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. It's our literature unit, and we are spending 3 days on the novel called The Seventh Wish. There's a magical talking fish in this particular book, and it has to do with a little girl named Charlie Brennan and her older sister Abby and their family, and what happens to them over the process of time. So Charlie is a lovely person. She loves to do Irish step dancing. She has a competition coming up and wants to make some money to buy a really pretty dress to impress people as she's performing, but also to impress the guy she has a crush on that she really loves. And she goes ice fishing to make some money. And she pulls up this talking fish who tells her that this fish can grant wishes. And if she will allow her to live, the fish wants to go free. If she allows the fish to live, then the fish will grant her some wishes. Now, she really doesn't quite believe that this fish has that magical gift or power, but she really wants to believe so. She wants to conquer her fear of ice, which she's afraid of the ice. And suddenly, surprisingly, that fear completely vanishes. It goes away. But we're going to learn in the next paragraph that not every wish that Charlie makes is granted in the way Charlie would want it to be granted.
Right. Some of these magical creatures can grant wishes, but sometimes they screw up. They foul up the wish and they mix things up. So here it says, however, not every wish manifests or happens as Charlie anticipates or as she expects. Okay, so the wishes aren't exactly what she wanted. For example, the boy who falls for her isn't her crush, Roberto Sullivan, but a similarly named boy, Robert O'Sullivan. Okay, so yes, indeed, she wants Roberto Sullivan. She wants him to have a crush on her, but it turns out that another boy has a crush on her as a result of that wish. He's got a similar name, a name that's kind of the same. It's not exactly the same. The boy is similarly named, and his name is Robert O'Sullivan. So yeah, those names are very similar.
Yeah, but the boys are different. So I'm sure she's disappointed. So even so, as this happens, Charlie is fascinated by the fish's magic. Even if the fish screws this up, gets it wrong, grants the wrong thing, Charlie becomes fascinated with the talking fish. If you're fascinated with something or by something, you can use either preposition. You become really fascinated by it and having your attention drawn to that thing. It just perks your interest. You're really wanting to spend more time doing this one thing. You can't look away if you're fascinated by something. She's fascinated by the fish's magic. Who wouldn't be? Just the fish talking would be fascinating to me. She continues making more wishes for her family and friends, although the outcomes frequently diverge from her intentions. When you talk about an outcome, it just means the result of something. We often talk about outcomes in business. Maybe you have a project and your boss wants you to get busy on it, but the outcome wasn't what you had intended or expected. It's the way a thing turns out is what an outcome is. Can also be a consequence.
Yep, it's similar in meaning to results. So here, the outcomes of her wishes are not exactly what she wanted. They diverge from her intentions. Diverge or diverge, you can pronounce it either way. Americans tend to say diverge, and that just means they kind of go off in a different direction, the direction you did not expect. So they're different from her intentions. Your intention is what you want to do. So if you're a boy and you're sweet on a girl and you want to marry her, at some point you'll have to tell her parents of your intentions. This is what I want to do. I want to marry your daughter. I want to provide for her. I want to make sure her life is comfortable, etc. You express your intentions. You express what you want.
Now, her friend named Dasha is an immigrant from Ukraine. So if you're an immigrant from a country, it means you move to another country outside your native country and you live there. So her friend Dasha does well on her English test, it says, but quickly feels overwhelmed in class. Maybe Charlie just made a wish that her friend Dasha would just score 100% on her English test. But it turns out, even though she did really well on the test, she's feeling overwhelmed in class, meaning it's too much for her. You know, she's got too much stress on her. So that's not exactly what Charlie had wished for her friend.
Yeah, when you pass an English proficiency test, you probably think your English is really good, but then when you get to the UK or the US and you're in the middle of a situation, my goodness, I don't understand anything they're saying. I studied so hard before and I passed that test, but here I just can't understand anything. So in this particular case, she feels overwhelmed in class. Maybe the teacher is talking too quickly. The other students know the answers to the questions and she doesn't. So yes, she's overwhelmed. It is just too much. Now, additionally, Charlie's mom secures a better job, but can no longer drive Charlie to the dance contest. So maybe Charlie wished that her mom could make more money and have a better job. She does get a better job, but as you know, if you get a better job, sometimes that job is far away, so you have to drive a long way, or you might even have to move to another city. So yes, she does have this job, but maybe she needs to leave really early in the morning to drive 50 miles or whatever, so she can no longer drive Charlie to the dance contest. What a bummer.
Yeah, here she's thinking, oh, I'm going to help my mom get a better job, but it impacts her because her mother is so busy at her new job, she can't drive Charlie to the dance contest. Now, this is distressing to Charlie. If something's distressing, it causes you a lot of anxiety, causes you a lot of pain. You might be very upset. So this upsetting outcome occurs when Charlie wishes for Abby to come home for the weekend to drive her to the event. So she wants her older sister to come home and try to help out and drive her to the competition instead of her mom. Shockingly, she learns that Abby is gravely ill and must be brought home from college. When we see that word gravely, it means very serious, especially if it precedes the word ill or sick, gravely ill. It means there's a possibility they could not make it, that they may never recover. So she's gravely ill. If somebody is described as being very grave or having a grave expression, it just means they're very serious.
Indeed. So grave is the adjective and here gravely is the adverb. So she is gravely ill. She is seriously sick and she must be brought home from college. Maybe she has to drop out from college for a while. She needs to make some arrangements. Maybe she can go back at another time. But yeah, she's very sick and she needs to come home. So that is not something that she anticipated. We'll have to find out what happens next in our next program. But right now we're going to listen to our Chinese teacher.
话说这个小鱼啊，它基本上是有魔力的哦。所以呢，基本上呢，这个 Charlie 啊，他就跟小鱼来许愿。那许愿如何呢？比如说呢，他的第一个愿望，他就是希望暗恋的人能够注意到他。但是第3段的第一句 however 然而并不是每个愿望都可以那样实现。我们在第3段第一句特别把中间 接近后面地方这里的 as 抓出来。As Charlie anticipates， 如果 as 之后出现了动词，就表示这个 as 是连接词，连接前面的这个 manifest 跟后面的 anticipate。如果英文当中的 as 是连接词的时候，它就有3种意义：一 when， 2 because， 3如同好像。我们把意思带进去之后，发现在这里就是如同好像的意义是最通顺的哦，并不是每一个 wish 都可以如同好像 as Charlie anticipates 他期待的那样实现哦。比如说爱上他的男生不是他许愿的男生，但是他还是许下了更多愿望。但是呢，这许下愿望之后通常会带来一些比较不好的结果。那我们接下来我们把第3段几个转成词语抓出来，比如说第3句前面的 even so， 即使是这样，即使爱上他的男生不是他真正爱恋的对象，但他还是觉得这个魔法，这条鱼的魔法还是很厉害的。那我们看到第6句的地方 additionally， 这个除此之外还有它的上文跟下文谈到的都是 Charlie 他的许愿。那 additionally 之后讲到妈妈有比较好的工作，但是另外就发生了不好的结果，就没办法载他去比赛啦。而最后面第8句的 shockingly， 令人感到震惊的是，他的姐姐居然病得很重耶。有时候我们在文章当中要特别注意这些转成词语，才会知道文意或者是故事的变化。不过我们明天还会继续谈故事哦。我是安娜，我们明天见。
That's all the time we have for today. It's been a pleasure having you with us today. And remember to check out our content on YouTube and Facebook. And we look forward to seeing you next time when we continue talking about the 7th wish. From all of us here at English Digest, I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
Bye.